Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the best betting show on YouTube. Unfortunately, though, I think we're losing that crown as of this week. We both had just a really bad week of betting. There's really no other way around. I'll go ahead and throw the spreadsheet up there for you guys to see. Yeah, I'm down about $800 from last week. And, Matt, you made a grand profit of a whole $16. You could probably get like a Starbucks coffee with the betting money that you made this week. So, we had a bad week. It is what it is, man. I know you still were able to make profit. I'm going to start calling you Mr. Profit because I think no matter what, you just make a little bit of money every single week, and it's kind of annoying, honestly. So, I don't know. If you want to get into week 4 and the travesty that it was, I kind of just want to throw it away, burn it, and not think about it. But I know you made a little money, so you can go ahead and talk.
Yeah, I mean, I made a whole whopping $16 off of betting $1,000, so not too good. If I wouldn't have went so heavy on the Chiefs money line, it would have been a lot better. The Chiefs totally screwed us. As we know, Patrick Mahomes slides down at the 1 to end it. If he runs that in, those bets don't. I don't actually. I think they would have hit, but it wouldn't have completely screwed us. So I hit every single other bet besides that. So 4 out of 5, I think, last week. But unfortunately, I put half of my money on the Chiefs. So kind of got screwed on that part. Mike, you were just outright terrible. You lost every single bet except for Broncos -3. It didn't hit. It just washed. So yeah, you had a rough week, man. Still, you're still $700 up so far, which is pretty good considering how much we've been betting. And I'm sitting right now at about $1,300 up. So far, like, you've been a little bit up and down with your bets, especially last week. You had a heavy down. Mine has just been consistent profit, so and that's kind of just the style I've gone for, and it's worked so well. I'm not going to be going as heavy on one game. Now, I know you're doing it again, and I don't necessarily dislike the bet that you have coming up for us, but overall, I think that my style this week is a little bit more passive.
Yeah, and I had a negative week 1, and then I had our by far our best week 2. So clearly, I'm able to overcome a little bit of adversity here, and I'm going to need that again if I want to get back in the lead with Matt. So that is kind of the thought process I'm going with for my bets this week. I know we do have one bet that is similar. Last week we had what, like 3 that we had that were the same. This week we only have one, and honestly, this is going to be our lock of the week. We feel really strongly about this. We're going to take the Texans money line, and those are plus odds, right? They're the underdogs this week. I know I'm putting $200 on it. I believe Matt's doing the same as well. Texans money line. We are both very, very encouraged by what we've been seeing from CJ Stroud. I mean, he has looked awesome. I know, Matt, you said that he was quarterback 1 in this rookie class, and I pushed back a little bit on you. You were right. I really do think that at this point there's really no defense. There's really no argument for any of these other quarterbacks except for C.J. Stroud. He looks great. D'Amico Ryans, I think, has those guys flying around. The Texans are, I think, much better than we thought. Back-to-back wins of 20-plus points. I don't know, man. I've been very impressed. So I think Texans money line, if there's an underdog I really like this week, it's got to be them.
Yeah, and you look at this matchup, and I mean, I'm putting $200 on it, just same as you, and the money line seems like the good route. The Falcons, look, I could see a world where Bijan just blows up and has a crazy game, but unfortunately, that Falcons offense has not been too great. I mean, you see flashes of it sometimes, like you see Drake London have a good play. You don't ever see Kyle Pitts, but you do see Bijan, just tearing it up and looking like a monster. But you look at just the overall matchup, and you're like, all right. So if these are similarly like skilled teams, and you have Desmond Ridder and C.J. Stroud, and you look at the other side of the ball when it's the Falcons offense and the Texans defense, and it's Arthur Smith who looks kind of awful. Like I don't think he's ever looked that like inspiring against D'Amico Ryans, who obviously ran the show in San Francisco, was amazing there, and now he's coming over to Houston, and they've drastically improved since the last couple seasons. So I think the coaching aspect of it too, outside of just quarterback, plays a big part in this one. So that's why I like the Texans. I think, Mike, you said, lock of the week. And it's kind of a weird one to put as a lock just because, like, they are underdogs. But we're buying into the Texans hype, and I think that we each have other games that we feel more comfortable about, but we're both betting on the Texans. So for that reason, like, all right, let's rock with it. Let's ride the Texans right now because they're playing super, super, super well.
And here's the thing about betting, man. Especially when you have a bad week, you got to take some risks. So if there's an underdog that I would be able to put some money on this week and take some plus odds, I think the Texans make a lot of sense. And then for my next bet this week, I'm going to be taking the Eagles to cover the Rams. -4 is the spread. I was very encouraged by what I saw from the Eagles last week. Now, this whole year and all of last year, they've been a team that is able to just dominate the line of scrimmage, run the damn ball. But this year, they've kind of gotten off to a slow start in the passing game, right? Jalen Hurts and the receivers, it seems like they haven't been on the same page. It's been kind of hard to get those explosive plays downfield. And I think they miss Shane Steichen. He went to Indianapolis. I think they miss him, and they were acclimating to life without him early on in the season. Well, they found their passing game last week against Washington. Washington's defense is not bad by any means. They have a really good front seven, and the Eagles just shredded them. Just specifically Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, they were just shredding them all game. You add that to the fact that they, again, have one of the best offensive lines and can run the ball now with DeAndre Swift really, really consistently. I think the Eagles are still a top 3 team in the NFL. Going up against the Rams, who have been better than people expected. I think just across the board, though, they just don't match up well with the Eagles at all. I don't think that the Rams are going to be able to keep up with the Eagles. I think you're giving me less than a touchdown. I do like that for the Eagles, and I think that they cover -4 against the Rams.
So I don't think this is a bad bet by any means. I considered betting on the Eagles as well. I've just seen that the Rams offense can be explosive. It seems like Cooper Kupp's going to be back. So now you got Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, who it's going to be interesting to see both those guys on the field at the same time because they are very similar, but their offense is going to look a little bit different, like more like prior Rams offenses than just when we've had like Cooper Kupp tearing it up like the last couple years when he's been on the field. But the only drawback I have, like I see how like the Eagles could just kind of run away with this one with their run game. I think that's the path for them. But we saw last week against the Commanders, the Commanders kept coming back. They kept fighting back. They hung in that game, and they barely lost. They could have won if they would have went for 2 at the end of the game. That's what I thought they should have done. But you look at it now, and you're like, the Rams are just as capable of that. Now, last week, they kind of blew a big lead, but what do? They end up coming back, and their offense kind of takes over at the end of the game. Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, like an offense that is explosive like that, Sean McVay-led offense, I could see like a backdoor cover. I could see them just kind of battling it out all game long. So that's the only drawback I have, but it's not a bad bet.
Yeah, no, the Eagles secondary is low key. They've not been great. They have not been great. Sam Howell shredded them last week, so I think Matthew Stafford could be capable, but I still do like the Eagles in this game. All right, and then for my last bet, you might be noticing, hey, you put $1,000 every week. You've done 200 and 200. Where is that other $600? Well, I'm telling you, I haven't learned my lesson last week from the Chiefs. It is going all on the 49ers -3.5 against the Dallas Cowboys. I am a big believer in the 49ers. I'm a big hater of the 49ers, that's for damn sure, but I'm also a big believer in the fact that they are probably the best team in the NFL right now. Brock Purdy has not lost a game ever since he's been the starting quarterback of the Niners, which is equal parts impressive and terrifying. Christian McCaffrey looks like prime LaDainian Tomlinson out there. It's crazy. Brandon Ayuk looks awesome. The defense still looks good, although I don't think it's as dominant as it was last year. I don't know if you agree with me on that one, Matt, but it's not as dominant. I think the loss of D'Amico Ryans is showing its up a little bit. Regardless, I think that they are a great matchup for the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys recently lost Trayvon Diggs. I know Micah Parsons is injured. He's going to play, but he's not at 100%. And I think the biggest mismatch in this game is coaching. I think Kyle Shanahan is going to just run laps around Mike McCarthy, who I don't think is a very great coach at all. Dallas has not been efficient at all in the red zone. They've been one of the worst teams in the red zone, unable to kind of punch it in. And I think the 49ers are such a well-coached team. They're such a well-oiled machine. They won't have that same problem. So for the 49ers, I do think that -3.5 is a big-ish line against a really good Dallas team on paper. But I think that we'll see kind of what we've seen the last couple of years where the 49ers kind of thoroughly dominate the Cowboys, and they win. I'm not saying they win, by 7-10 points. I'm saying maybe like a 5-6 point win for the 49ers. I like them -3.5.
Yeah, and I like the Niners money line, but I know even the past couple playoff games that they had, they were close games. I don't know if the score would have covered in both of those. I think it might have. I think it was like a 4-point victory and like a 7-point victory, but the games came down to the wire. Cowboys are a good team too. I think that we're gonna see the turnovers be probably the biggest deciding factor in this one. The Niners are yet to turn the ball over, which is kind of crazy. I think they're the only team that's done that. I would be surprised if they're not. And the Cowboys have struggled. Dak obviously throws a lot of interceptions, especially against the Niners. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Niners do end up turning the ball over, because that's what's really helped the Cowboys the most this far this season. They have generated a ton of turnovers. So if they continue to not turn the ball over, McCaffrey looks as good as he's looked, which is insane. I think that they will take care of business, but I could also see like a 2-3 point win, a 1 point win. I think it's going to be really close. I think these are two of the better teams in the NFL. So that's why I'm not betting. I'm not betting on the Niners this week, and I have. And I don't think I did last week, but I have the past few weeks where it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to bet them. Like this is definitely a comfortable line. So I don't know.
I will say two more things. Number one, again, I got to get back in the lead here, Matt. So 600 is a lot of money, and I know you invested a lot in Patrick Mahomes last week, and it didn't work out. I'm praying on Brock Purdy to cover my ass here. The other thing is, and this is just the way I think, you bet on my Seahawks last week, against the Giants -5.5, and they smoked them. So maybe I return the favor. I bet on your 49ers, and hopefully, we can have a mutually beneficial betting relationship between the two of us. Hopefully, man. So, yeah, Niners -3.5, $600, cash it in. Let's go.
As we know, Mike kind of went the same route that we did last week, and I'm changing it up. I'm not going to bet like that this week. So I have 6 different games that I'm betting on. Already bet the $200 on the Texans, so I have 800 left. I'm going to take 2 games with massive spreads. I'm a little hesitant on these because the last 2 weeks I've been burned by them. I got burned by the Chiefs and I got burned by the Cowboys and their pathetic game against the Cardinals. Let's just be honest about it. But this week I'm going to put $100 on 2 separate games. One, the Dolphins -11, and the other is the Lions -10. So the Lions are playing the Panthers. The Panthers are one of the worst teams in the league. The Dolphins are playing the Giants. We just saw the Giants on prime time. They looked abysmal. And the thing about the Giants is that, yeah, their offense doesn't look good, but their defense last year was really good, and it doesn't look that good this year. So for both of these teams, like, these are 2 playoff teams, pretty good playoff teams in the Lions and the Dolphins, top 10 teams in the NFL going up against the bottom dwellers of the league. So putting $100 on each of them, I don't feel that comfortable just because it's such a massive line, but my thought is, hey, these teams should blow them out. They should blow them out. So that's what I'm rocking with on this one. And I think they should hit, but I don't want to be too heavy on it. So that's my other 200, and then I have 600 more here. So next up, gonna keep it in the AFC East. We talked about the Dolphins last week, Mike. You bet on the Dolphins against the Bills. I said, hey, I think people are sleeping on the Bills. For some reason, people are always sleeping on the Bills. I don't know why that is. But I'm going to be taking the Bills -5 against a Jaguars team that they've been one of the more disappointing teams in the league. I know they're 2-2. They're probably going to win the AFC South, but their offense has not been what it was expected to be. And this Bills team is legit. They are a really good team. They're one of the best teams in the NFL. We expected that last year. Last year was kind of, I guess maybe it's just because last year they were a little bit disappointing. But if we're being honest with ourselves, they were disappointing because they got bombarded by injuries. And I think people just kind of ignored that. People wanted to be like, let's blame Josh Allen because he had 50 touchdowns and 4,000 yards. And I always bring that back because I don't know why people don't like Josh Allen. Last week, we saw that offense, right? Saw that offense go up against the Dolphins, who had it. Now, the Dolphins don't have an elite defense, but they have a much improved defense under Vic Fangio. They dropped 31 points in the first half. So I think that they can take care of business. I don't think this Jaguars team is going to take the jump. At least what we've seen so far, they have not taken the jump that a lot of people thought. And the Bills are just as good as they were last year, if not a better team this year.
Yep. Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think that the Jaguars' defense is capable of stopping Josh Allen and the Bills, and therefore I don't think the Jaguars' offense right now is capable of going blow for blow with the Bills. You saw it last week. The Dolphins kind of were able to go match them, point for point for 2 or 3 drives, and the Dolphins' offense couldn't even keep up. So we're talking about a team that just scored 70 points versus the Jaguars' offense that has been struggling a lot this year. Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, Calvin Ridley, they've all been really inconsistent this year. So it's going to be a fun matchup. But, yeah, I really do like the Bills -5. And I'm disappointed, man. I really thought the Jaguars were going to be really good this year. I had them going like 14-3, so whatever. But, yeah, I think the Bills are definitely going to cover in this one.
So next 2 games are also going to be in the AFC. Now, one of them was supposed to be really good. They've really struggled. The other team, they've been really good. They've been cruising. So I'm going to talk about the team that has struggled this far, and that is the Cincinnati Bengals. So as we all know, the Cincinnati Bengals offense has been one of the worst offenses in the NFL, and nobody expected it. Now, Joe Burrow is banged up. That is a factor, but T. Higgins has looked god-awful. Jamar Chase has not got the ball enough, and their offensive line has played abysmal, right? So they've really struggled. Zach Taylor has struggled from a play-calling standpoint. Well, This week, they're going up against one of the worst defenses in the NFL against the Arizona Cardinals. Now, we've already kind of hit the panic button with the Cincinnati Bengals. However, if they do not win this week, that panic button, that's going to be a whole different story,
It's the
and we are
nuclear button
probably
at
going to
that point.
see Joe Burrow benched for a while, I would guess, because they're going to be in like a really, really bad spot. And I'm going to bet the Bengals. I think they're going to bounce back. I think they're a better team than maybe what they've played like early on. I don't think they're that amazing this year. I think this is a year where they're taking a couple steps back from previous seasons, but the Cardinals offense is pretty good. I will give them that. They're top 10 in DVOA, so they're going to put up some points, but the Bengals defense is also pretty solid. This is one where the Bengals offense needs to go out there and they need to win. And the spread is 3 points. I'm taking 3 points on the Bengals. I'm putting $200 on this one.
No, you're absolutely right about the Bengals. They should win this game. They should look pretty good in this game. This is the definition of a get-right game. You've been struggling for a little bit. You kind of get a little bit of a break going up against the not very talented Arizona Cardinals. I totally agree. If you're not winning this game, and you're not winning this game pretty handily, we got real issues in Cincinnati. And I know that they play the Seahawks in Week 6. I'm actually going to be at that game. And truthfully speaking, we're getting close to the halfway point of the year, Matt. We're about the quarter mark, and they've not looked good. If we get to the halfway point of the year and they're still kind of in the same position they are right now, you might just have to punt the season and just say, hey, Joe Burrow, get healthy. We'll see you next year. So it's getting scary in Cincinnati, and it'll get real scary if they don't beat the Cardinals. So I agree with your logic, but I'm also a little bit cautious because I have not been encouraged by the Bengals at all this year. So we'll have to see. But they should, by all logic, they should win by 3 against the Cardinals.
Yeah, Mike, I'm 100% there with you. And, looking back on it, you remember what Jamar Chase said? He'd rather not have Joe Burrow out there the first couple weeks of the season to get healthy and come back. And that has been 100% correct. So, what Jamar Chase has said has basically been entirely accurate this whole time around. This last week, he says he needs the ball more. So guess what? We're probably going to see Jamar Chase get the ball a lot more in this one. And that's the most encouraging thing about the Bengals that I've heard in a little bit now. So that's why I'm rocking with them. I brought up I have another AFC team. Going to keep it in the Bengals division. We got a Ravens-Steelers matchup, one that a lot of people, I would say it's like not really a historic matchup because the Ravens are relatively a new team. But in the last 20 years, it's one of those that's just like, oh, this is like classic football. You're going to see good defenses. It's going to be a good game. Well, I don't think it's going to be a good game this week. You have the Ravens on the road. They are going to be in Pittsburgh. They're 4-point favorites. I still think they're going to kill the Steelers. We just saw the Steelers get absolutely mollywopped against the Texans, and Steelers defense is good. But the Steelers offense is one of the worst offenses in the NFL. It's no surprise that Matt Canada is garbage, as we all kind of thought he was going to be, and guess what? He's garbage again. So you look at this one and you go, 4 points. Okay. Are the Steelers going to score over 14 points? Probably not. Okay, their defense is pretty good. But the Ravens offense has been improving every single week under Todd Monken, and Lamar Jackson looks insane. Lamar Jackson is an MVP candidate right now. I think that he can put up a few touchdowns. Now, the only way I don't see this hitting is if the Steelers defense generates a bunch of turnovers, has like a pick six, a fumble six, or gets one and gets it into the red zone where the Steelers immediately translate that into six or turn that into six. If that doesn't happen, I don't think that the Steelers are going to hang around in this one. I don't think they're that great of a team, which sucks because their defense is really good. TJ Watt is having an unbelievable season, but it feels like this is what we see every single season for the past 4 years is since AB and Le'Veon were there, it's been the same thing. Even when it was, old Ben Roethlisberger. Oh, this offense can't move the ball. They suck. But the defense is amazing. And the defense gets them to 500, and then they don't do anything with it, and they're just stuck in perpetual mediocrity. So I think that's where they're at. And the Ravens, meanwhile, are going to probably cruise to winning that division. And I think this is going to be that step of the year where it's like, okay, so the Steelers do just suck. I think the Ravens are going to take care of business in this one. Might not be like a blowout, but I think it's going to be a pretty comfortable win.
The one thing that's encouraging is Lamar Jackson last week looked great against a really good Browns defense. I don't see why he couldn't do that again this week. I like the Ravens, man. I like the Ravens to cover. I agree with you. I'll take Lamar Jackson over Kenny Pickett any day of the week. All right, guys. Getting into some of the games that we aren't betting on this week. Starting off with tonight's game, Bears, Commanders. I've learned my lesson. I'm not really going to bet on bad teams anymore. The line is -6 for the Commanders. That's too high of a line for a team that I don't think is very good. Sam Howell's been inconsistent, and, the Bears are garbage, so I'm not going to bet on them, obviously. Saints, Patriots, just two mid-ass teams. Derek Carr looks like shit. Mac Jones looks like shit. I would not want to put any of my currency on either one of those to win a football game right now. We could talk about, Titans, Colts. That game's basically a pick 'em. I need to see more on Anthony Richardson before I, put money into him, I think. What other games, Matt? Like, we got, Jets, Broncos, the Nathaniel Hackett revenge game.
Game of the week.
Yeah. What?
Said game of the week.
Game of the week, dude. I love it. Russell Wilson and Sean Payton versus Robert Saleh and the MILF man. Chiefs, Vikings. I don't really
that's a
think
fun one, though.
that game. It's a fun one. I would have thought about it, but the Chiefs kind of screwed me over. They screwed both of us over last week, so I'm putting a 1-week hiatus on the Chiefs. And then the boring – no, not the boring. I meant the game of the week on Monday night. We got Jordan Love going to see Jimmy Garoppolo in Vegas. Yippee. Anyway, those are some of the games we're not betting on this week.
We were talking about this too, like all these primetime games suck. This week we get one good primetime game, but the other two, dude, Bears, Commanders, and Packers, Raiders. Why do you think
what's funny, Matt? You know what's so funny? I don't know if you remember this. I was at the Bears and Commanders game last year on Thursday night. It was like the worst game of the year. It was like I think it was like 7-13 or something.
It was that one. It was that one in the Broncos Colts. You remember Broncos Colts, right?
Yeah, where Russ threw the pick to Stephon Gilmore at the end of the game. Like, dude, what are you doing? So, I don't know why they're putting these trash-ass teams. I think they put them on Thursday night because they're like, yeah, we'll give you 4 days rest because we don't give a fuck. You guys suck. But, all right, let's go ahead and let's get to the parlays, man. I'm sick of this. All right, getting into our parlays. I have a parlay. We do get one free $50 parlay. That's how the show works. So, I'm going to go with a quick 5-legger for you guys. I'm going to start off with Bills -5.5. I really like it. I agree with what Matt said. I'm going to put it in my parlay. Commanders money line. They should beat the Bears. How ugly of a score it is, I don't know. I don't know if it's closer. I don't know if it's, a blowout. But I do think they beat the Bears. They're a better team. It's hard not to be against the Bears. I will take the Colts money line in this parlay just because I like Anthony Richardson. I'm not brave enough to put serious money on him, but I will throw him in the parlay. And then I'm going to take the Cowboys and 49ers over 45.5 points. Not sure if this line has changed. I will check. I know I saw this yesterday. I think these are two good offenses that are willing to put up points. Plus 871 odds on the parlay. $50 wins me about $490. I got to get back some money somehow. So I think that's my parlay for this week, Matt. What do you think?
I think it's a solid one. I think I'm going to go, mine's kind of I guess it's a safer parlay, but, still 627 odds. So $50 wins a little over 300 on mine. I got 2 locks in this one, the Lions and the Dolphins money line. I would be absolutely shocked if either of those ones don't hit. All right, they're not pretty heavy odds too. They just boosted up a little bit. But then 2 really good teams after that, the Niners money line, the Chiefs money line. Now, I could see an upset in either of these games. I could see the Vikings or the Cowboys pulling it out, but I'm going with the better teams and I feel pretty comfortable about them. And then the one that really boosts the odds a bunch is the Texans money line. I'm rocking with them. We talked about them being the lock of the week, and while I'm not super confident in that lock of the week, but I do think that they should take care of business, and they've looked really good. So that's why I'm rocking with that. It's 5-leg parlay. I think it's pretty solid. I think this has a better chance to hit than some of my previous ones where we're just kind of like throwing like crazy bets out there trying to get like something nuts. But for this one, it's a 5-leg parlay, but I think it's a pretty safe 5-leg parlay if that's even a thing.
Yeah, safe 5-leg parlay. I said every better ever. But all right, so there's our bets. There's our parlays. Again, I link the spreadsheet in the video every single week. Go ahead and check it out. See what we're betting on. See what you guys think. Keep track of our money, if you will. Again, I'm going to get back in the lead this week. I know I'm about to have another bounce back week. Matt, you're going to make probably $212 of profit. It's pretty much the mean for you at this point. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys want to see more betting videos, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace out.